India and Pakistan will hinge on the manner in which each state converts economic power into military strength. Before we go into the military comparison between India and Pakistan, let's have a sneak peek on the rivals between them in the past years. Now, these two countries have long been at odds with each other, having engaged in several wars, conflicts, and military standoffs. The root of the continued tension are complex, but have centered mainly around the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. After the 1947 partition of India, the newly formed independent states of Pakistan and India squabbled over it, which led to the Indo-Pakistan War of 1947 to 1948 and the subsequent sharing of the state. The settlement was non-agreeable to both the parties, and since then this had become an ongoing intractable issue, leading to a war in 1965. The nations also partook in another war in 1971, which led to the formation of Bangladesh, and both countries developed nuclear weapons in the 1990s, and this had a sobering effect on the next major conflict, that is the 1999 Kargil War. So do you think India currently has the upper hand in a number of defense aspects? Well, let's find out. Coming first to the general information, New Delhi serves as the capital of India, whereas the capital city of Pakistan is Islamabad. India is the world's second most populous country after the People's Republic of China, and according to the latest population census, India reaches the astonishing number of 1.378 billion population. On the other hand, Pakistan 2020 population is estimated at 220.36 million people at mid-year according to UN data. India is the 7th largest country in the world with a total area of 3.287 million square kilometers, and India measures 3,214 kilometers from north to south and 2,933 kilometers from east to west. Pakistan, however, covers an area of 881,913 square kilometers, and it is the 33rd largest nation by total area. Fuel consumption by the military has been steadily increasing. Now let's compare their oil resources. India produces 1.6 million barrels per day of oil, ranking 20th in the world, whereas Pakistan produces 88,261 barrels per day of oil, ranking 53rd in the world. India consumes 5 million barrels per day of oil on the average, and it ranks 3rd in the world for oil consumption, accounting for about 4.6% of the world's total consumption. Pakistan, however, consumes only 556,000 barrels per day, and even when it comes to proven oil reserves, India is far more compared to Pakistan, ranking 24th in the world and accounting for about 0.3% of the world's total oil reserves, whereas Pakistan ranks 52nd in the world. India versus Pakistan, a clash of powers that if both sides committed fully to would be the largest armed conflict since World War II. But which side really has the upper hand? Let's have a look at their manpower. Strength of manpower gives us more accurate picture of the global distribution of military muscle. The Indian Armed Forces are the military forces of the Republic of India, and it consists of 3 professional uniformed services, that is the Indian Army, Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Forces. Similarly, Pakistan Armed Forces, though comprises of 4 main service branches, but their distribution are more concentrated into Army, Navy, and Air Force. The Indian Army is the largest standing army in the world with 1.23 million active troops and 960,000 reserve troops. According to the estimation provided by the International Institute for Strategic Studies in 2017, the Pakistan Army had approximately 550,000 active duty personnel and 500,000 reserve personnel. As of June 2019, Indian Navy has 67,252 active and 55,000 reserve personnel in service, whereas Pakistan Navy has 25,000 active personnel and 5,000 reserve personnel. As of 1st July 2017, 139,576 personnel are in service with the Indian Air Force and 140,000 are reserve personnel, whereas Pakistan, as per the latest report from IISS, the PAF has 70,000 active duty personnel and 8,000 reserve force. So this gives up to a total of 1.44 million active personnel of the Indian Armed Forces, which ranks the 2nd largest in the world, and 653,000 active personnel of the Pakistan Armed Forces, which ranks 6th largest in the world. The Indian Armed Forces has a reserve personnel of 1.15 million numbers, while Pakistan has 508,100 reserve personnel. Amid rising tensions between India and Pakistan, the military imbalance between the two nuclear-armed neighbors is making many take note. India's defense budget is growing at an impressive clip, but rising personnel costs are crowding out resources for modernization. Pakistan spends more on defense than its official estimates suggest, and Pakistan leaves out important components of the defense budget, and there is a reason to believe that off-budget financing supplements official spending. According to the latest figures from Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, there are some significant differences between the two countries. India's military spending is $71.1 billion as for 2019, which ranks third in the world, while Pakistan accounted for $10.3 billion which ranks 24th in the world. India's military expenditure for 2019 accounted for 2.4% of its GDP, whereas Pakistan accounted for 4% of its GDP. Absent reconciliation between India and Pakistan, how each state converts economic power into military strength will reflect long-standing grievances. For India, most of the army equipment is of foreign design and produced under license in India, but efforts are on to progressively design and manufacture equipment locally. Pakistan's military land equipment too are mainly foreign-made. The Indian Army operating on land is the largest component of the Indian Armed Forces, and even Pakistan's army is the principal land warfare branch of the Pakistan Armed Forces. Since they are the main component, now let's have a look at their numbers of equipment. India has 4,795 numbers of tanks, while Pakistan has 2,735 numbers. The number of armored fighting vehicles for India too is more compared to Pakistan. India has 266 rocket projectors versus 100 to Pakistan. As for field artillery systems, India is more than 3 times bigger compared to its rival. However, the Pakistan Army Force has more self-propelled artillery compared to India. The Indian Air Force, with highly trained crews and pilots, bears the responsibility of safeguarding the Indian airspace. Since 1950, the IAF has been involved in 4 wars with neighboring Pakistan and 1 with the People's Republic of China. India's combat aircraft today are mainly MiG-21, MiG-29, Sukhoi Su-30, MKI Dassault Mirage 2000, Jaguar, and MiG-27. Pakistan Air Force primary mandate and mission, however, is to provide in synergy with other inter-services the most efficient, assured, and cost-effective aerial defense of Pakistan. Since its establishment in 1947, the PAF has been involved in various combat operations, providing aerial support to the operations and relief efforts of the Pakistani military. Pakistan's main combat aircraft include F-7P, Dassault Mirage 3, F-16, JF-17, and Dassault Mirage 5. Now let's talk numbers. In terms of combat aircraft, India is just a bit more than Pakistan, but they have 2 times more helicopters and 5 times more transports compared to Pakistan. India has 359 trainers versus 513 to Pakistan. This all makes up to 2,123 numbers of total aircraft for India and 1,372 that of Pakistan. The primary objective of the Indian Navy is to safeguard the nation's maritime borders and, in conjunction with other armed forces of the Union, act to deter or defeat any threats or aggression against the territory, people, or maritime interests of India, both in war and peace. The Indian Navy have already fielded the Arihant class, which is a nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, which makes India the 6th country ever to do so. The Pakistan Navy, however, is a volunteer force which has been in conflict with neighboring India twice on its sea borders and has been repeatedly deployed in the Indian Ocean to act as a military advisory in the Arab states and other friendly nations during the events of multinational conflict as part of its commitment to the United Nations. So what is the strength of their naval force? India's fleet strength is nearly 3 times more compared to Pakistan, and they have 2 aircraft carriers, while Pakistan has none. They have twice the number of submarines to that of Pakistan. Even in the case of destroyers, frigates, and corvettes, India has more compared to Pakistan, and India has 139 numbers of coastal patrol versus 12 to that of Pakistan. But in mine warfare, both have the same numbers. Both nations have ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons. India has 9 types of operational missiles, including the Agni-3, with a range of 3,000 kilometers to 5,000 kilometers, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. According to the CSIS, Pakistan's missile program, built with Chinese assistance, includes mobile short and medium-range weapons that can reach any part of India except the Shaheen-2, which has the longest range up to 2,000 kilometers. As for nuclear arsenals, although throughout the 1970s and at the beginning of 1980s, there were little facts regarding Pakistan's nuclear capabilities, and there were rumors that from the mid-1980s, Pakistan already had few warheads. However, it was only in 1998 that Pakistan decided to conduct their first nuclear tests. The main goal of Pakistan to construct nuclear weapons was to respond to India's claim that they were capable of building nuclear weapons. Pakistan has 150 to 160 nuclear warheads compared with India's 130 to 140 warheads, according to SIPRI latest updates. India likely spends at least 4% of its defense budget on nuclear weapons, while nuclear weapons account for at least 10% of Pakistan's military spending. Military development in India and Pakistan will have profound implications for regional and international security. The strategic competition between India and Pakistan is evolving, with India outpacing Pakistan in conventional capabilities, while Pakistan seeks to compete with nuclear capabilities. India is ranked the 4th most powerful military power in the world according to the Global Firepower Index, unchanged since 2017. India's military strength is second only to that of the US, Russia, and China. While Pakistan's actual defense budget is likely higher than the estimates provided in official defense budget documents, and they are likely to increase the number of nuclear arsenals. So guys, what are your thoughts? Do leave a comment in the comment section below, and